Okay, today's date is November 4th, 2019. It's a Monday. My name is Daniel Bradfield, and I'm the oral historian for the Orange County Regional History Center, and with me is
Alexandra Chichelong. I am One Orlando Oral History Archivist.
And Thomas Norsbecken, Administrative Journalist.
okay. And today we're interviewing. You introduce yourself.
My name is Juan Nieves. I am an artist, sign maker, designer, teacher, other stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of stuff already. Okay. This interview is being conducted as a part of our effort to collect interviews with the Keeper of the Heritage Arts Collective, and the interview is being conducted at the New Concepts Barbershop in Kissimmee, Florida. So to start off, who's the oldest family relative you've ever met?
My grandfather, we grew in Caguas, Puerto Rico. I'm born in San Juan, but we study and grow in Caguas, Puerto Rico. My grandparents have a house in the county, in the old town. He got a barber shop, a small barber shop, and my uncle have a small shop for sign making shop in the backyard. And we growing, playing around the signs, the pencils, the brush, the whole stuff related with the science and art.
So, what was your grandfather like?
My grandfather loved the art, and my uncle too. But day one, when I grew up, I'm working in the barber shop, not sign maker. But little by little, I started to take love for the designs. I see the sign makers working, and they start to pushing me later to study the drawing, the other kind of related for the art, you know.
So, what do you have any stories about your grandfather that you'd like to share?
My grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather. I got this grandfather live in the county, in the country. I got the older ones for the have a big place on the is farmer, you know.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And they have a lot of place with the different stuff around the county, you know. But we growing in the barber shop and the sign maker area. But they are a common people, you know. They love the work, the barber shop, and my uncle is a great sign maker. He pushing me to go to the school, to the university. He got a lot of interest for me about the arts, more than my father, more than my mother, because he looked my talent when I growing.
So, how did your parents meet?
My parents?
Mm-hmm.
My parents living in Orlando right now.
Okay.
My father have 82 years, and my mother 78, and they are very, very good people and very good parents and grandparents. I got 3 kids in Puerto Rico, the big ones, and they are a great fathers for us. My brothers, I got 1 sister and 1 brother, and they are great people with the family.
So you said you were born in San Juan. When were you born? What year?
I'm born in 1965 because my father worked in welding. My father a welder, and they welded in the ship and the pier in San Juan.
Okay. Yeah.
They are a welder, but he got a medical insurance in this area. And I'm born in San Juan, but we live in whole life in the Caguas area. It's other county.
How do you, what did you, you said born in San Juan and grew up in where?
Caguas.
Caguas?
Caguas is my when I develop all my stuff. I live in most of my years over there. It's other county. All my family live in Caguas.
So what's Caguas like? You know, is it rural? Like, what would you do in your spare time? That kind of stuff.
Caguas is a big county, an important commercial area for Puerto Rico. A good place for life.
So you said your grandfather opened a sign shop and a barber shop.
Mm-hmm.
Were those both in Caguas? You said you started working in the barber shop when you were young. What were you doing?
The barber shop is located on Padilla Caribe, is the name of the street, 52 in Caguas. And the sign shop is the same place, but in the backyard of the house, you know. They have a big yard, and they do the like a shop, you know, a big one, more bigger than the barber shop, because they have a lot of customers, different good customers, the Cagua area and the whole Puerto Rico. Little by little, they start to looking for more customers. The shop growing. My uncle right now have a shop here in Orlando.
Oh, okay.
When I come in for Orlando, he called me. I don't think he come to Orlando, but he called me and say, "Hey, they say me Junior because my father is Juan Nieves too, you know. My family say me Junior. Hey, Junior, do you want coming from Orlando? I got a lot of work here for sand, and I know you can develop more here, but I don't thinking in that, but because I work in Puerto Rico, I'm now teaching over there, our teacher, and I have my 3 kids over there, and I think for me they are difficult, separate from my kids, but little by little here, he told me, hey, come. And in the 2005, I'm coming for Orlando, the first time. The place is great. I love the Orlando area. It's quiet, it's good. All my family live here, my sister, and my father's later moving to here. And right now, in this time, say, okay, I'm try to, what happened? And working with my family in the shop, from here, like 6 months. And later, I'm looking for other company. I'm working with that company right now. I'm art designer and sign designer in that shop. It's a big shop on Sanford. But little by little, take love for this place.
So how did you start doing that design work? Did you go to college?
Yeah. When I finished my middle school,
Okay.
I started to study commercial art and take 3 years and a certificate for that. When I finished my high school, I got my certificate for artist commercial, and that's in this time right now the artist commercial is like a graphic designer because right now it's different, it's more digital, but in the 80s, the commercial artists doing more work, more drawings, more paint, it's more handcrafters. Not like now, you sit in the computer and you got your tool, hold your tools here, and it's different. It's all a kind of art. But in this time, uh, when I finished the my college, I finished with my certificate. I studied in university, in the Inter-American University, start to study paint and art education. And I have a bachelor art education and a master degree in the education for special students. A little bit I take love for this study, and I continue working with the art. Later, make myself job in another place in Puerto Rico for 5 or 6 years. But continue studying the different stuff that around the artist. But in the 2005, I come through here and start other different part of my life.
When do you graduate with your bachelor's and your master's? What year?
I graduated from Inter-American University with the name of short name, let's say the Politécnica of San Juan, Puerto Rico, and the master in the UPR, University of Puerto Rico, and Inter-American University too. I studied in the different universities. Like I'm start in the Polytechnica, later in the UP, is like a University of Puerto Rico, and later with the master come back to the Inter-American University for make the master degree.
So how long did your degrees take? How many years did each one?
I start in the college in 1983. I graduated from the high school in 1983. Started in the college in this year, and finished my bachelor on the 1987. Finished my bachelor degree in paint and art education, and later I start when I finish with my bachelor. I start to work on the public school Puerto Rico, and I start to the art teacher for 5 or 6 years. But at the same time, I continue. The government of Puerto Rico pay me the master degree. I'm selected for that kind of, and they pay me my master, but in the special education for kids for special limitation. But I never use that. I just finish and never work around that specialization.
Why?
I love the art. I had the opportunity to take the master, but I prefer my shop. I prefer working with the art, not working with the kids. It's good, but not is better for your staying in your job and your studio. It's more comfortable for me. But anyway, I work in teachers, like teacher on Puerto Rico, more than 10 years. My first year after my graduation, I started to work from teaching in different places, and I'm teaching in the university too, but all around of the art. Silk screen, design, drawing, photomechanical, whole around the art, no around of the other kind of material. Not mathematics, no Spanish, nothing.
So, how did your family respond to you saying you wanted to be an artist?
A good question. That is the first question for the artist. My father prefer I working in whatever stuff, not the art, because he don't have the mind of that vision. You see, when you got three kids and of your kids, one, and I'm saying, I remember when I have like 5 years, and in the school the teacher asks you what do you want when you grow, and the kids say the police, fire, and said I want drawing. I'm an artist, not as common. I'm more in Puerto Rico in that years. But my father, little by little, when I say I go to the university to study art, he told me, we don't have money for that. We don't have money for that. If you want, you go to work because you got your certified artist commercial, but we don't have money for more. And I said, anyway, I continue my studies. And I'm looking for a job and start to study in that university because I loved that. And little by little, maybe he tried to improve me. You know, the father sometimes tried to put a force in maybe if you are sure that you want. But later, when I made the admission of this place and have my words and I'm accepting that university, they changed their mind and little by little uh, pushing me and support me, So my mother every time, if you need the pencil, you need my first drawing table. I buy a used one for $25, and I just have $5 that time. I remember I had like 13 years because we drawing about the table for the house now. You don't have a special table for drawing at that time. But you remember Sears? My sister and me walking in Sears, and they have a one user table and say, I want that. They had a small sign that say $25. I got five. But we start to looking for money, and I buy that. And I use that table, all my studies, and my brother, my other brother is an architect. But I got 55 years, he got 50 and more old than him. But it's a great drawing, but by architect, it's not as like this kind of artist. but he used my table too.
That table got a lot of use then.
Yeah, but not as a big table. It's something like this, you know. But a great tool for us.
So, how did you get into art teaching? Because it seems like you did a lot of like signage design and stuff like that. How did you get into teaching?
When I started in the university, I took the art teaching because I need work and something for life, you know, and because when you done your college, you need work. And I'm thinking, I continue with paint, but if I can work in the teaching, I got my salary, you know. And I start with that, but I'm teaching artists, commercial artists, not the normal one, not the regular art. When I finish my university, start to work in the same place when I graduate. My ex teacher changed the place to work, and started in that school. And in this area, I worked like 5 years. But I'm just the teaching for life. You need a job because every time I have my work so outside and signs and designs and logo designs and the whole around of the artist commercial, but the teaching is my secure money. Later, I'm change my work are just the art, and not that I don't teach it more. And continue with this and different kinds of t-shirts, teacher prints. I has a copy shop all around the graphic.
Have you ever thought about going back to teaching?
Not now. I got my license on, for working in Florida, but I work in one place when I got my computer, my tables, all my stuff, art, quiet, and for me that is better than in the classroom. The kids right now not easy, and in Puerto Rico more difficult because with the news sound of the reggaeton, you know, and the kids is very different. Not it's like my time.
And so, what was Puerto Rico like when you were growing up? What was Puerto Rico like when you were a kid?
I love Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico have a lot of problems, but the society have good things and bad things. This is like the whole place, like here, the drugs, the criminals, you know. But the people is great. The place is beautiful. I love it. And anyway, I'm growing all my life here. I come from Orlando when I had 40 years. I live all my life over there. But right now, if you ask me what you prefer, I prefer stay here because it's better for me. I got my kids over there. I send the child support. That not is kid. They had 19 and 21 years. It's a big kids, you know. But anyway, for me, our kids whole life. But I prefer right now stay here. It's more easy. And anyway, I try to move my art to the other place. That is the purpose when I coming from Orlando. My purpose are develop my art and try to put in the other levels because in Puerto Rico, whole people in Puerto Rico know who I am and my art, and I did a lot of expositions. I had a lot of students follow me, but I think when I coming from here, I thinking move to the other levels, my work, my different styles, and the world change because I feel like more quiet here. I can think more in my work and my process, and the work talking about that. You see my work when I work living in Puerto Rico, and now the change is big, very different.
So why did you move to Orlando? Why did you move to Orlando?
I moved from here because my wife have one kid, and that kid play baseball. Yeah, and she moved with the kid from here and live in Puerto Rico in my house. I got one house in Puerto Rico, and she's here and I'm over there, and I come back, looking for back and forth for the. When I finish with my stuff over there, I come from here, and later I said we can't continue with this. We closed the house over there, and I moved from here because the kids are playing baseball here, and in Puerto Rico he had opportunity, but here maybe better. And
It's a big baseball state.
he quit
Oh, okay, never mind then. All right. Okay.
because when he finished the college, have a lesson in the arm,
Oh,
and he can continue with the baseball. You know the baseball teams looking for
they got too
healthy guys. If you got that surgery here, it's like Tommy Jones,
Yep. Yep.
and that is the finish of the career for him.
What position did he
Catcher, but great catcher. His uncle played with the Miami Marlins,
Oh,
and he had a great talent and a big body. But when I start to play here, the coach start to push him more because they look your talent and they push him, create that. Because if you catch for the 25 pitchers, every pitcher do 20 or something, and you catch him and the same for 20 catchers or 10 whatever in one day. It's a lot of fun for the arm, and
you're doing it 130, 140 times a game.
yeah.
That's tough. Yeah.
But he working right now, and but yeah, they are a great guy in these worlds.
So, when you first moved here, where did you move to?
When I first the first
When you first moved here.
when I come the first from here, I'm divorced from my first wife, and I'm talk with my family. My mother coming from here in that year, and said, "Let me prove," because the family say me, you're not alone over there. Come from here, but I come in the 2005. I remember in November of the 2005, I'm coming from Orlando, and I start to love it a little, and learning to the area. The rules are different, but right now I feel like my home here. I feel like Puerto Rico. I don't feel the difference.
What did you first think of it when you moved here? When you first came to Orlando, what did you think of the city? What did you like? What didn't you?
No. The first time I come from Orlando, I come to visit for the Disney and something, with my kids. When you come from whatever place, like the tourist, whole is beautiful. Whole place. If you go to the hill, it's beautiful because you are a visitor. But that is the first good thing for me. That Orlando is beautiful, it's a good place, it's clean because it's different. That is great for this area. It's clean. The tourist areas is very nice, And you don't visit other places, just that area around the park. But when I'm moving, really, for living from here, I see the whole stuff are the same colors. You see the house and the place have the same color, the same forms, the street the same. I can't. I don't know what is the. I see whole thing is the same for me, because Puerto Rico is very different, and little by little I start to check. Okay, all right, it's different, and right now I feel good. No, I don't see the difference right now. My vision is other one, different.
So you moved here in 2005, and your son was playing baseball at the time.
And that happened. I'm moving from here in 2005. We returned to Puerto Rico in 2010, 2 or 3 years, because I'm working with my kids. Later, we come back.
Okay. When did you come back?
But I come back in the 2014. Yeah, but I have my other house here. When I moved for Puerto Rico in 2010, I rent my house here and go to Puerto Rico in the other house for my family. And I come back and sell the house and I buy other one. I got other one in another place. It's my second house in Orlando.
Where? What part of the city is it in? What part of the city?
It's close to the Kirkman.
Okay.
The Kirkman it's close to the Universal area. This area.
Yeah, that's.
It's I don't remember this area.
Gotha? Dr. Phillips?
No, it's for the 50th Street, 50th Street. I don't remember the area. Metro West, it's like that Metro West.
Yeah.
I live in the Piedmont right now. But that place, this area is, the older area is more Hispanic people. In this area is most American people. But it's good for me. It's the same. I live in this place, but I live in my shop and and just fit in my backyard for cut the lawn, I pass whole of my life in the studio. I never see the TV. I don't have chance for that.
When you first moved here, where did you work? Or what did you do for work?
I start to work with my family. My family have a shop, from sign shop. But my uncle is a great guy, but don't pay. And I'm looking for other job later. And that is my my work right now. When I go to Puerto Rico and when come back, they call me, hey, your job is here. I got your work. I got right now 5 years working because the first shop they have the shop close to the airport,
Okay.
but later other company buy that one and I'm moving to the Sanford. And I'm working right now in Sanford area.
What kind of signs do you make?
All kind. Right now I'm working with the street signs. We're doing the sign out, have the light signs with the name of the street in the cross. I do that for the whole United States.
So it's not just local.
No, we're working with the Las Vegas, New York, the whole state, different customers.
So what's kind of the work of doing those signs? Like how do you design them? How do you create them?
I'm doing right now different stuff. I make the design because the county and the DOT have the rules for every place. Everybody have a different rules, and they send the different names and the cross for the streets, and you make the design like a blueprint. It's like a mechanical artist, and you send to the customer approve, and I cut with the machine the plotter, and put in the Lexan, and the other people make the body, because the company started with the design from scratch, from zero, and when they finish, the design go to the customer in the box, ready for putting in the street. But I use that kind of work for my salary, because that is I got all my life working in the different kind of sign. When I work with my uncle, I'm doing the neon signs, I'm doing channel letters, I'm doing the different kind of designs of the signs of the whatever. I got right now more than 35 years of experience. But in the art work, I try to separate my work from my art, because if you working together, the final process not is the do final, because the art have other field, Not is the same when you work with the science and the graphic design, because you're looking for other stuff with that.
So over your time working in signs, how's the work changed?
Ooh, a lot. When I started with the science, if you don't know drawing or paint, you can't work sign maker. You just can't clean the areas because don't have chance. When you go to make the interviews in the different shops, they have tables, the big one tables, the signs over there ready just with the sketches, or they send to you, hey, I want this sketch over there, and you need drawing that. The computer don't work in that time. Right later, the computer start to put inside of the science job, and the sign maker start to move to the side, because the plotter do whole thing and the softwares. you know, the software that Sign FlexiSign, SignCat, a lot of the Coral. Right now, if you don't know nothing about the software, you can work on signs. But in that time, the 80s, if you don't drawing, you don't paint with the brush, you don't have chance. But for me, that time is more beautiful because you feel you go to the world and you create every day. You make drawings, you drawing the letters. Whole thing is with your talent, you know. But the difference is a big. The other difference is right now is better because you can work more fast, more accurate. You got more chance to do more stuff in less time.
Why did you move back in 2014?
Why?
Yeah.
Well, I told you that in the 14 I come back with my wife my stepson, and they start to play here.
So, how have you managed working, full time, either teaching, sign work, and making art? How do you manage doing both things at the same time? Because it seems like two full time jobs.
I don't know, but my mind is like this. I got chance to do a lot of stuff a day. At the same time, I'm thinking in the art. I'm thinking in my house and my kids. Maybe it's a a special thing for me. But when I had my job, I working in the morning, looking for the materials, visit the customers, doing the layouts, go to the bank. At the same time, I'm teaching in the university in the morning early. Maybe I'm trying to do but I don't know why. Well, for me, it's a common day. It's a complicated like that. Right now I start to work at 5 o'clock because I'm working 5 through 1:30. Later, I come back from my house and start with the paint. I got two shifts. But sometimes I finish to paint at 11 in the night and wake up at 3:30.
Start all over.
Yeah, I'm working in the morning. I start today at 5. I work 4 hours, and come to here and feel good. But that, for me, is not a complicated day, because I think I can separate the different stuff.
So do you still paint like that on the weekends too? Is that 7 days a week?
Yeah.
Schedule?
When I start to work with this, I talk with Angel. I have at that time like 5 or 6 works ready, and I told him I want to make a solo show this year. Give me a day for that, and start to work day and night. And I work in this show like 1 year and a half. And yesterday I'm painting in other kind of. I'm changing right now other series. I try to when I start one series of paint, I try to separate the one of the other one. when you see the series, you say, yeah, that is different. I did one show in Puerto Rico in the 2013. It's different like this. It's totally different. This time I made the women's bodies, but they following for the and growing from the nature, the trees, the sea, the ground, very different. And little by little, you're doing your mind change. This is very, 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 very different. Like the pictures when I start to paint, very different.
So what's your process? When you started to paint, what do you do?
When I start to paint, first I got ready I prepare my canvas. Sometimes I buy the canvas ready like this. Sometimes I take just the canvas without gesso and prepare whole thing in the cloth and paint it later. Put in the frame. When I got ready, right now I'm doing the sketch. I'm doing the small sketch. I got my book and I'm doing the different sketches, and I'm separate the better of that, and with that I start to make the sketch in the canvas, but anyway, when you start to paint, your paint change. Not is like exactly like your sketch, original sketch. That original is like you follow something. But when you start to paint and to start to apply the colors, and your mind changes that, and you start to make the combinations and the shapes, the shadows, you start to change. Notice like when you drawing a paper, you follow the forms, but when you're working in this abstract, you got that form in your mind. You don't find that in any place, because I working in my studio close. I don't looking for nothing in the YouTube or whatever. I don't use that because sometimes you're looking for bad influence and try to follow my mind and fluid by myself, my ideas, and it's not to paint. That's it. And I create my self style and separate from the rest of the artists, because to that influence, people think that is looking for follow that. No? You can check whatever artist here and notice like me. That is my purpose. I got my personal language in my work. I don't need the other people say, "Oh, I love it." That I need feel happy with my work. Today, when I come into here and see my work, every time when I can't see my work, sometimes I say, "Wow, I can do that," and sometimes I forget. Oh, I got the word for and sell word for the people, and I visit the homes of that people. Wow, I don't remember that word, something like that. And with this, the same, because I'm paint one, and put that word off of me. I don't check one. If I'm painting this, I don't follow the other ones. I put in the back for continue and don't have influence in the other ones. and continue with my creative things.
So, because of the abstractness, because you don't look up other stuff for like influences, what influences the painting itself?
When I start to paint in an studio of art, my teachers for paint, they are abstract painters in Puerto Rico. The teacher I has a two teacher, uh, Carrero and Jakowski. They are abstract in that time, and maybe that influence to me a little because the difficulties are coming from the commercial artists, and when you got the commercial artists in your mind, it's very difficult for you to start to work in the other stuff. But later, little by little, I try to remove that mind and start to work with the most modern. I don't start it like abstract and Picasso and Kandinsky and different ones. I love that kind of work and following maybe that influence to me, especially Picasso. But little by little, I try to move to myself language, you know. But right now, I feel very good with my work because I'm thinking and I'm doing the correct for my career, you know. Not easy because the art have a high and low, you know. But I know the people love my works.
So, before we started filming, you said that those two paintings behind you were your favorite ones. Why? What do you like about them so much?
Like
You can get up and stand next to them if you want to.
what?
You can get up and stand next to them and point to stuff if you want to.
Yeah. I love this one, but this and paint this first and later that one. In this work, that work is a work without tyrants, you know. The
Let's
I think we
pause
just have to hold that in. Oh, pause.
No, well, yeah, let's pause until that passes. Okay, sorry, you're in the middle of explaining why those are your two favorite pieces.
one of my favorite pieces is this one. In Spanish, it's Mundo sin tiranos, world without. Jose, how do you say tirano?
Tirano is tyrants.
Tyrants.
Yeah. A world without tyrants.
World without tyrants. Because if you see the work, have a hand, a strong hand, pushing the word inside the hand. You can see here. That is the fingers of the hand that is and pushing and crashing the word. But if you see the word like the first, only you see the colors, the bright colors. But if you can check like whole thing, you can see that. And the other one is like a fire with the fire.
Luminos.
What is the fire?
Luminosity. That's what it translates to.
Yeah, so have a name in English. In Spanish, we say that luciérnagas. Luciérnagas. It's and the name of that one is a luciérnaga. It's the small creature in the night, like, and have lights in the night. Puerto Rico have a lot of that.
That's the stars.
And that is one of these. But in my mind, you know. But I love them. I love that work. Whole work is good. I love different stuff about that. The flowers for Puerto Rico, the garden, the rose.
So how long does it normally take for you to create like a piece in this series? How long did it take you to finish the whole piece?
I did like 1.5 piece in the month.
Okay.
Sometimes 2 weeks, every night. That one is a big one, you know. And when I paint it by layers. I paint the first layer, wait for the dry. Sometimes the next day continue with the other layer, and it's a big one, you know. If the work is it's more like 1 week, 3 days. It's depend of the size and the work. It's more simple.
Yeah, I was wondering if you work on any other collection right now, a new collection.
I'm working on a new collection. Is more abstract than this, but more simple. But I'm using more whites inside, but it's very different, very different. But I got ready. I work in this week. I finished the first one, but I don't have date for the. Maybe I'm working other year more with that. In the next year, when I finish, I got maybe 15 or 18 pieces. I'm ready for the next show. Sometimes I take 2 years for my one painting and the year for shows and exhibitions.
How do you know when a collection's done? Like you don't want to add any more pieces. You don't want to you finish the final number.
Sometimes you don't know. I got an idea of a sketch for that series, but I separate them more for me. But I got options for maybe 10 or 20 more works, and maybe I can use in the other one, other series, you know. But in this time, I have in my mind 18 pieces, and I think in the big ones because I'm thinking in this show, but I think in the other shows in the next year we have the the group of the heritage. Maybe we have the more shows the next year. I'm thinking in that too. Maybe we use few of those work for that shows in different places in Orlando and Puerto Rico, maybe in Airmont. But I don't think in not just in my series. I thinking in use for the other shows. But I continue with the work. When they separate the work for the different shows, maybe we use 1, 2. But sometimes you never know when you're done. you serious because you do. For you prefer continue with that because your mind, you got in your mind just different ideas whole time.
So, how did you join the group here, the Keeper of the Heritage?
What?
The Diaspora group, the Arts Collective. How did you join?
When I'm coming to Orlando, I'm talking the angel from Facebook because in Puerto Rico we has a big show one day a month in Caguas. But I tell you, if I go to Orlando, I don't know people over there, artists, because I know people but not artists. And call and send a message for an angel, and they started with the diaspora group, but they have a close group, in that time. But I'm trying and try and call. Hey, do you have a chance for me? I can help you because I need to stay in the ambient of the art. I love that. I don't need to stay inside of the group. I just can help in the whatever stuff. I am the graphic designer. I can do the catalog, but you need later the group separate by I don't know, and Angel create a new one. And Angel create a heritage. What is the name of the
Keepers of Heritage.
Keepers of Heritage? And I start to work with Angel, and I'm doing the catalogs. I'm help to make the mounting the shows.
So you made that sign?
Yeah, indeed. That is my daily work.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, and the
Um,
text panel?
No, I'm create the catalog. I create my catalog, my logos, whole thing. I do the whole thing.
Did you
Yeah.
also create the sign and the text panel for the previous exhibit? The one.
I use that for my first exhibition here.
But what about the one that was here before?
Tirado. He did Tirado as well.
Tirado?
He did, yes.
Okay.
He did you did the sign for Tirado and the sign on the wall.
Oh, and you
and
remember
mine as well. Yeah.
when Jose made the show here, I did the catalog and the letters for the
The sign.
walls. I'm working on the stuff for the word of the exhibitions. I love that.
Self-sufficient artist. You only need the walls. Everything else you provide.
Yeah. When Jose has the show, I say, Angel, I want to make the catalog for him for free. I don't need money. I need just help. And we did a great catalog, but it's like a threefold like that, but big one. Great. And the whole designs for that.
You have to tell them that when his uncle had the shop, he used to, his little job, he was a kid, to wash the brushes.
Yeah.
And then one day he decided he was going to try painting a sign.
Yeah, when I started, I had like 5 years. My uncle go to the lunch outside to the shop, and the other employees, 2 or 3 more, and he put on the table on the panel the banner, but just with the tape and the marks for paint. And I say, wow, That is my time. And they put the pen in the can with the pens, the brush over there. Oh, I got ready because I'm saying the whole people over there paint like it's very easy. When you see the sign making working, you think that is a magic pen. The brush is like, yeah, I ain't ready. I think that. When I go back, what is that? What do that? It's me. Oh, why you don't ask me? I try to, but I'm, you know, he put other banner for it, that is the report trash. Later, they tried to fix that, but little by little, I practice doing the calligraphy, the sales screen, and learning the process. And when I had 12 years, I start to work with him in the summer. And they showed me make the electrician inside the signs, and start to paint little by little. When I finish my study from art commercial studies, I'm ready. Later, in the high school, I'm working in the media shop, the publicity office, something like that. And I'm a graphic designer, but not like the graphic designer right now. It's different. But I had a lot of experience in the joke stuff, All my life I working around the shops. My shop and the other shop for my friends.
Know about the cars that you painted, for the race cars.
Yeah, in one time I had a customer from Budweiser, and I paint the airbrush because I'm the airbrush, and I paint the whole body. It's like the real car body that is a plastic.
Alright.
Yeah, no paint.
Oh, okay.
In that paint we don't have a wrap. In that we drawing in the body. That body don't have just white. Don't have lights. That is plain, and you simulate the lights, the handles, the glass, but with the paint. And later, you put the different signs for the customers or sponsors.
So like professional race cars.
Yeah, professional. I did that like in 1992, something like that, in that time.
Painted that for a couple of years or just?
Yeah, but because when I have my shop, they call me and make the designs for the different funny cars or dragster or whatever, or the cars for where the car where they put the car inside. I make the logos and design for that. In my shop we did a lot of different stuff around the artists. We did the t-shirts. They had the machine for circling the t-shirts all the time. But all around the art for me is good. You can do that? Yeah, I can. Jose said me, I never stop. Yeah, I work in everything. Every time I'm working, I know I can't stop.
He starts at 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It's a lot for whatever. when the people wake, but I had a half day. I work today 4 hours. I come to here. But tomorrow the same. But right now I don't working in the weekends, so they're just Monday to Friday.
So what do you do on the weekends? Just paint?
Yeah, paint, sometimes drink. Stay with the family, you know.
So you moved back in 2014, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So where do you have like any personal story for like the Pulse shooting from 2016? Do you
Yes.
remember the shooting at the nightclub in Orlando?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember. I stayed here with that. So sad. Yeah, because I remember I stayed in my house in the morning when we check the TV and the news and with that. It's very sad for that county. You know, we can think that place that they're doing here. And sometimes you feel afraid, you know, because Puerto Rico have a different kind of crime, you know, but this kind of crime is not as common over there. If you are a common people and don't working with the drugs, you never see that. But here, in that time, with the civils and the mobile people, that is good. But we tried with the never more we had that situation, you know.
Did you paint anything or do any signs or anything for it?
No. In that time I working in the other kind of work, and I don't do any word about that. Sometimes I'm try to. A lot of artists do the exposition about that, but I don't feel good doing that.
Did you have any family, or how did your, when Hurricane Maria hit the island, how did it affect your family?
Yeah, my kids live over there. They don't have lights. They don't have communication. Any communication is very difficult for us. That affects the whole people. So you live over there, you affect direct. But if you got your close people over there, and you know that they have a lot of problems with that. And we have lucky because they don't have problem with the house. The house is a good house and don't have the big issues. But anyway, when you see the people sad, crying, without house, the floods inside of the house, a lot of that is affect a lot to us. And sending, and the difficult, we try to send help, and the island are closed, don't receive nothing, and I'm trying to call my kids, and I find it 2 weeks later after the hurricane. And what do you think? You don't know if they're good. That's not is the most sad situation in Puerto Rico. And more when you have people close over there, great friends, my family. I got other family here. But right now, a little bit later, they are better. But the problem is, I try to not talk about the politics stuff. But the most of the problem for that have the governments, because Puerto Rico is a great place. If you live in Puerto Rico, it's living like here. You got the whole stuff. No, that not is a savage or it's like here. Any different. But the only difference is the, the politics and the government use the money the wrong thing, you know. If you use correct the money and the help, Puerto Rico are rich. But if you receive $100 and you take it 75 and 25 for the people, what you think? And the street full of holes. The water and the lights, they don't have nothing. What do you think? But the rest of the island is great. If you separate that people for that, you got a paradise. I told you, I never think go out to Puerto Rico. Because I said I got whole thing in my life. I got a great house, my business, my education. But the circumstance change, and we have the obligation to move to over there. Because not it is. But I got over there 3 kids. One study philosophy in the university, the other one an architect, and the other one is an accountant. Okay. And they say they don't want to move to here. Hey, I say, hey, come with me. No. They love Puerto Rico. Maybe later, when they are growing and looking for a job and don't find, maybe they follow me.
Were they, did you know anybody who was involved in the protests in Puerto Rico earlier in the year?
Who?
Like the big protests in San Juan? Did you have any like relatives who were active in it, anything like that?
They are follow the process, but don't participate in that. But I love that. I love that protest. Because if the people if you put people in the government and they don't do the correct thing, go out. And sometimes the people have a fright to talk because the government pushing, you know. But I prefer the people say and they do the protest and move the government, that kind of people, the wrong people in the government. Right now they are trying to fix with the new government, but just cross the finger.
That's all you did.
But in the whole place is the same. The king for the president and the other same president. You don't know.
So I got one last question. Is there anything that you'd like to talk about that we haven't talked about yet? Anything you'd like to add?
I don't know. I want to say that I'm grateful about Orlando because I think I have opportunity to grow in my art is here, and I'm looking for other place for show my art I'm growing on the different areas of my talent. But I don't know what is the future for me because I'm working, and I continue with the different growing about the art. Angel helped me a lot. Jose, other kind of the group, you helped me to make this show. And anyway, I feel happy now. I feel happy.
So I've got one last question. So we're gonna keep this interview at our archive. So what would you like to say to somebody who's listening to this in the future?
Well, I can say that the people about the artist's work, not only for me, for the other artists. The artists need more help, more space to exposition, and help to you to move your art around the county and the other places outside from here. But for me, that is the most important, the support of the people for the artists. And the movement of arts. I'm not talking about the Hispan. I'm talking about the whole artist. Yeah, because I don't like separate by heritage or whatever. I love the art, whatever. Not the Hispan, not the L. If you support the art is art. When you see the art, you don't see any color, anything. You see the credit of that people, that guy, whatever. For me, the most important is whole people working together for the same, the art.
Tom, you have any questions? Okay, all right, I think we're done.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.